I'm Alex Del Sordo, and this is a Rower's Choice Athlete Profile. Well, I am with another athlete profile, and I get energized by these because how fun is it for someone to get to talk to a future Olympian, Olympians, national team rowers, and for the next 15 or so minutes, we're going to learn about Kara Kohler. Now, Kara Kohler is a representative of the U.S. national team, and unfortunately, she is not racing in the Olympics this year, 2020, but she is in our global virtual challenge. So, Kara, welcome to Athlete Profile.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So, Kara, we talk about rowing on this show. Okay, we talk about a lot of rowing, and I want to know your life in rowing. I want to know
Mhm.
when you picked up an oar for the first time. Was it high school? Was it before? Where did you go to college? So, walk me through your rowing background.
Yeah, so picked up my first oar, a sweep oar, when I was 18 at the University of California, Berkeley. Go Bears. So yeah, it was the fall. That was the first time I ever rowed. I didn't row in high school. I was a swimmer in high school, and then it was my senior year, as I was looking to get recruited for swimming, that a family friend suggested rowing to me, and I knew nothing about rowing. Like many people, had a vision of a kayak in my head and thought, no, you're crazy. I've worked my ass off for 4 long years, waking up at 4:20 a.m. every morning to drive 30 minutes and swim year round and try and get a swimming scholarship. Like, you're crazy, no way. And then I thought about it. It sunk in a little bit. I looked up the sport of rowing and was inspired by reading articles of athletes on the team I was soon to be on, that went to the Olympics who were walk-ons in college. And so I was like, well, maybe there's an opportunity here. So from there, I reached out to the coaches at Cal. They invited me out and saw the potential in me and
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
recruited me as a
Hold on.
recruited walk-on.
Just stop. Just stop.
Okay,
This is
stop.
ridiculous. This
That's
is
it. That's the story. That's
ridiculous.
how it goes.
I worked my butt off high school and like I rode every day, all day. And you're telling me that you just showed up one day and said, I kind of want to row and they recruited you? That's
Well,
crazy.
I like I worked my ass off in swimming, and I sent them my swimming profile, and so it had, my height, my weight, all my fastest swimming times, and
Yeah.
they translated that into a potential rowing speed. So it
Now,
wasn't
so,
like I was
so
just walking off the street, never worked out before.
where did you swim in high school? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Clayton, California. It's in the East Bay of San Francisco.
And
So I grew
how
up in that area.
okay, so then how tall are you? So you must be a very tall athlete then.
Yeah, I'm on the taller side, even for the rowers here. I'm 6'2". So
Oh
I
wow.
think our
Awesome.
tallest is Karin, who's 6'4".
Wow. So
Yeah.
that's incredible. So do you have a longer wingspan than you are tall? Because the swimmers, I heard that's a thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure I've measured it before, but I forget. I think I'm pretty proportional. So I'll have
So
to
then
find
what were your
the
distances in
measuring tape.
swimming? What did
I
you
bounced around a lot, but when I was younger, I was really good at breaststroke. Then I went through the whole puberty thing. That kind of changed, and I bounced around and did IM. That was my favorite event. That's all 4 strokes, fly, back, breast free. So I enjoyed um, a little taste of everything. 200 AM, I'd say. Short course was my favorite. I definitely preferred short course over long course.
well, so this is pretty cool. So the most famous, I mean, the most famous current transition person from swimming to rowing is Ali Zeidler, who,
Yeah.
in 3 short years. So this is interesting. I want to learn about this. So how quickly did you take to the sport of rowing at Cal? How quick were you like in the boat, rowing well and competitive?
I think I was in the boat by the end of like September. Well, I started in the barge. So that's where I took my first strokes. All the novices got to go out in the barge at Briones Reservoir in Orinda. And so those were my first rowing strokes. And I excelled pretty quickly on the erg. So I was one of the top ergers within my first semester at Cal. And that definitely opened my eyes and allowed me to realize, oh, I could go somewhere with this as long as I figure out how to put the blade in the water. That's important.
So like
Uh,
I love emphasizing the strength of women, right? And just showcasing how good they are on the
Thanks.
ergs. Like what was your 2K at Cal? Like how fast did you get in college?
My fastest during
Yeah.
college.
Mhm.
Well, if you count the year that I came to Princeton to train for 2012, so I took a year off between my sophomore and junior year to train here in Princeton for the London team, and that was when I pulled my fastest 2K 6:36. But within Cal, like my first 2K was 6:49,
What?
and then I
What?
think my fastest while I was training at school was 6:38. So
Oh my gosh. Kara, that's insanely fast.
that was what got me my ticket here to Princeton to
I
train
mean,
with the big dogs.
that is unbelievable. So then this was like you're rowing in Cal in like 2010, 2011, is that right?
Yeah, I started the fall of 2009, so my first season was 2010. Yeah,
And then your first Olympics were 2012?
correct. Yeah, in the women's
And
class.
and then so you're in the quad. So wait, I just need to figure this thing out. This is crazy. So you took your first strokes in 2009, right?
Yeah,
2010, and you won a bronze medal in 2012?
that's what happened. Yeah,
I mean,
I was
how
blessed
how
with strength on the erg, and that gave me a lot of opportunities. So it wasn't necessarily because I had the best rowing skill. I had the strength and could follow people pretty well. So
so oh my goodness gracious. I mean, that's very impressive. I find that an athletic feat to be very impressive. So congratulations on that. So
oh,
what
well,
happens?
thank you.
You're welcome. What happens in the 2012 to 2016 cycle? Like what happened in those 4 years?
Well, my priorities shifted a little bit after the 2012 Olympics. I went back to school to finish my junior and senior year, and that first semester back was about 2 weeks after the finish of the London Games. And I was still running on a high from racing and winning a medal, and like, yeah, I can go back to training and school; it'll be fine. But then I quickly realized that I needed to spend more time focusing on school and figuring out my major and studying more. Like school never was easy for me. I struggled with it a lot. So I eventually took some time away from rowing for the rest of that fall, starting in October, to figure out school. And so I
So,
definitely
so you
lost
didn't
some
row.
fitness.
You
And
didn't row
then,
with Cal. Like you didn't row with Cal at all. Like because you would have had one more year of eligibility, right? Did you row with them at all?
oh yeah, no, I was, yes, I still had 2 more years of eligibility once I came back because I um, redshirted, I think, the the year I was here training for the Olympics. So yeah, I still had 2 years left.
So
But
did
yeah, I eventually got back with the team and competed the 2013 season, and we ended up. That's when our varsity ended up winning NC2As. So it was a very up and down year of,
and that was
of
when
emotions.
Kendall was in that boat,
Oh
right?
yeah, Kendall was a freshman, and she was in that boat.
Wow.
That was a
So
lot of fun.
so then did you race the 2016 Olympics?
I was
No.
cut.
Oh no!
They didn't
Wow.
want me. I know. So right, yeah. Then um, I got rejected from the 2016 team. I was training for it. But like I said, I didn't spend quite as much time on the erg or rowing in the year and a half, 2 years after London because I was focusing on school. But I would come back to Princeton in the summer to try and make the team, which I did in 2013. I made the women's quad again that raced in Chungju, and then 2014, 15, 16, I didn't make a team despite my efforts to. So um, that was difficult to not
So
make
did
the
you?
team.
But you graduated. So luckily
Yeah,
you got a
I
degree.
got that degree. Go Bears, go me.
I
Yeah.
mean, you have to understand it's a big accomplishment, right? Like I was the first person in my family to ever get a degree. I don't know about your family, but I mean,
Yeah, I
it's a
think in
big
my
deal.
immediate family, yeah, first one for a 4 year degree.
Yeah, so that's a big deal. Now obviously you've changed your course. You said I want to get after the Olympics again. So you're doing another cycle.
Yeah,
So
after some major reflection and like months, about 6 months away from rowing, I decided I wanted to come back and pursue the single, or at least try the single for a year, and if nothing less, gain some fitness and small boat skill that would help me excel more
so
in the
then where are
team.
you at now with the team? So currently where you sit
Hmm.
now, are you in the single? Are you in an eight, the quad? Like where are you with that?
I'm training in the single. I've raced the single for the past 2 years, the 2018 World Championships and the last World Championships in Linz. And my sights are still set on the single. But I'm training alongside the Princeton Women's Training Center. So that's the women's 8-4 quad. Good to
So
be
as a
surrounded by a group.
so as the so I was at Worlds in Linz. What year was that? Was that 18?
That was almost a year ago. That was just last year,
So I was at that.
2019.
Yeah, I was at that. Was it there? Yeah,
A
I
lot
was.
has happened since
No, it
then.
was.
Yeah.
I was at the World Cup. I was at
Oh,
the World Cup.
different. Okay.
Yeah, no, I now remember.
Oh
That was
yeah, it must have been
2018.
2018. Yeah.
Yeah, so you weren't there at that World Cup, I guess.
No, I didn't go to that World Cup. I went to the other ones.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I mean, high level racing. How difficult is it to row the single, and being in the environment where it's primarily the 8 or the straight 4? Like, how do you commingle and train with those other athletes?
It's great. We're all really supportive of each other, and I feed off their energy. They give me so much energy. It's so much easier to train with a group than to go out by myself every day. That's not to say I don't like the single. I really enjoy racing the single, but putting in the long miles is pretty tedious at times. So to be
Oh,
surrounded
it's
by
incredibly boring. I
the
mean, oh, geez.
the team boats, I mean, they're rowing pairs a lot. So um, if you space it right, we can challenge each other pretty well on pieces and percentages and stuff.
Do you have a private coach for the single, or does Tom spend a lot of time with you in that boat?
So my primary coach is Laurel, his assistant, but Tom will give me feedback every now and then. So I'd say they both give me, yeah, they both coach me, but Laurel is my main coach.
So my producer in the year, as we call him,
Also a bear. Go
also
Bears.
you Bears. I'm getting tired of hearing this. Jeez, go
Yeah.
Bears, go Bears. Like, oh.
Go Bears. Sorry.
Well, I have a producer in my ear. We call it CJ, and he tells me that you
Okay.
were 2019 U.S. Rowing Female Athlete of the Year. Um, that's a huge honor. I mean,
Thanks.
how was when you learned of that? I mean, what kind of emotions went through you? I mean, that's a big deal to win that award.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best part about it is that it was all my teammates that voted for me and gave me that award. So to know that they respect me enough to get behind me and vote for me after a good season I had is really special to me.
Yeah, I mean, so
So
I
that's
think
important.
you placed well, you bronzed, right? You got a bronze medal at the Worlds in 2019.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. I mean, that's amazing. Now, how does that translate for 2020? I mean, how are you feeling going into the Olympic cycle for 2020? Where were your eyes set? I mean, I don't know how close competition is among the women's single at that level.
Yeah, my sights are still set on the single, and the main competition is Jevy Stone. I don't know if you've heard of her, but
Oh, I
yeah,
have. I have.
I think she also wants to be the single. So yeah, we've had some close racing the past couple of years.
Now, is the
Yeah.
women's single guaranteed entry at the Olympics? Is it a guaranteed spot?
Uh, yeah. So I qualified the boat for Tokyo, but no, we have to qualify domestically. So we have a slot. Yeah, I placed high enough at the World Championships that the U.S. team has a spot in the single.
And so then Jevi is still trading and still rowing, and now it's the two. Do you row with each other? Or is she?
I mean, she raced the double in 2019,
Okay.
but I feel like her heart. I don't know. I don't know what she's doing, but I know she likes the single, so I'm not
That's,
gonna discount
now,
her, obviously.
now you said earlier about inspiration from Olympians and walk-ons. Like, that's a big deal in our
Uh-huh.
sport that we don't have. Younger women don't have a lot of individuals to look up to and say, like, "Ooh, I want to be like her when I grow up," or "I want to do that." Like, do you spend a lot of time on your spare time, like talking to younger athletes or trying to be a mentor to some of the younger women in our sport?
I wouldn't say I have very much, which is probably something I should do. But growing up, I had a lot of swimming idols, female, that I looked up to. So I don't think in my experience, was lacking in terms of role models. But I mean, I have my nieces. Try and try and inspire them. I've coached a couple of junior athletes, boys. So I mean, if there are any females out there that want to work with me, headed back to the Bay Area soon.
Well, yeah, you said that to me earlier in this week. We're very much looking for finding Olympic level athletes and mentorship. Like we see it because we're with high school coaches all the time. We're with athletes all the time. Young women in our sport really need someone to look up to. And
Oh, I did just do a Zoom interview with a high school girl who reached out to me in Boston.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was fun, and definitely, yeah, it was nice for me to know there are girls out there that look up to me.
I mean, it's funny. I've talked to a lot of Olympians, and it's funny how modest you all are. I mean, no one has a really big ego. You guys are very quiet individuals, and you tend not to boast about your accomplishments. But being the female athlete of the year, getting a bronze medal at Worlds, having Olympics bronze medal, I mean, that's something that a lot of women want to look up to and say, I could do that. I could be like that. But I want to switch gears. You signed up for our ERG competition, so tell me,
Man,
how are you feeling for this tournament right now? This month-long tournament.
I'm getting that like nervous excitement leading into a big race, so I'm feeling good. Yeah, I haven't felt this anticipation in a while, so
Well, that
definitely
makes
looking
me
forward
feel
to it,
good.
despite it being on the erg.
Yeah, the ERG stinks, but so that there's multiple distances, right? So what would you say is like the one round you can do well? Is it the minute long, the 750, the 21:12? Like what distance do you think you'll do really well in?
Um, Definitely not the 1 minute. I feel like Carling will crush that. I think she's has lots of power. Maybe Emma too. But yeah, the 1 minute has never been my strength. So probably the longer ones.
So
Um,
luckily
2K to 6K.
you have so we have the women's gold medal championship 554 for time. We have the 608
Hmm.
that Murray Bond time.
Oh yeah.
So like
Hmm.
those are your distances that you're really gonna like lock in on. And I think there's
Yeah,
only 2 or 3 really short distances in there.
well, that's
So
good.
yeah, now I just want to know like for like moving forward, right? So after the Olympic cycle, so I'm you're still going strong. You're going to push for the
Hmm.
2021 games. What does life look like for Kara after the 21 Olympics?
There's life after the Olympics.
That's a perfect answer.
Yeah, at this point, yeah, no, I could see myself continuing to row. I feel like I'm just kind of gaining confidence in my ability to race well. So I could see myself doing another cycle,
Now,
but after taking some time off for sure.
have you, yeah, you'll need that. Now, have you, because I don't know your age and have you approached 30 yet? Have you hit 30?
I'm 29.
Whoo! So as I'm always interested to know for athletes, like especially female, are you just now catching your stride of like strength and endurance? Like, are you finding that you're getting stronger as you get older in this 30-year range?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I've been setting PRs this past cycle, so I don't know if that's just part my mentality being a little more stable and um or also, I mean, I think it's a combination of my mindset and the training I've been doing. So
So
yeah, I
how much are you
set a
training?
6K PR this year, which I hadn't done since my sophomore year at Cal, my second year of rowing.
So what
So
what was that
finally,
PR? What was that PR?
the 6K PR,
Yeah,
I went 21:52. So that's
really fast.
144 point something.
That is very fast. I want to know at this point, you've done now, this is your third Olympic cycle. How much time do you dedicate to rest and dedicate to like actual training hard? Like how have you divvied that up?
Yeah, I mean, I think as most athletes learn as they get older, recovery is very important and getting also enough fuel. That's something I've been struggling with this quadrennial. I mean, maybe I was the last quadrennial, but I just didn't notice it. Um, So keeping weight on, eating enough more than I think.
Oh,
And also, yeah, being better about sleeping enough. I'd say naturally I'm a night owl, or maybe I just procrastinate. And then I stay up so late, and getting up early is very difficult for me. But part of
so
that is just forcing myself to go to bed early.
I can understand.
Otherwise, it's very difficult to perform.
I understand that. Now, I want to know, and I'm really interested in this, and this is our last question here. How have you funded this journey? Do you have a lot of parent support, family support? Have you had jobs on the side? Like, how have you been able to maintain this level of work and volume of training?
Yeah, so that's something I really struggled with after Rio, because I got cut from the funding, I think, in 2014. So I didn't receive any funding for 14, 15, 16, $0.
Ooh.
So my parents were helping me. And as one can imagine, being in your mid 20s and having your parents fully fund you isn't like the best feeling. And
No.
living with a host family, I mean, my host families were great, but not being able to support myself at all was difficult for me. So that was something I wanted to change post Rio, and so I started doing a little bit of private coaching. Not that I was really making a ton of money, but it was something, if anything, just to get experience outside of being a full-time athlete at the
Sure.
training center, work on a different skill. And then, yeah, so I made the team in 2017 and got put back on funding, which was very helpful. And then also the Gold Cup and the Lawman Challenge, that has been incredibly helpful in helping me to stay afloat the past couple years.
So did
So
you win that? Did you
yeah,
win that the Gold Cup last fall?
uh, I was what happened? I was second at the Gold Cup behind Emma, and the Lawman, I won the Lawman Challenge. So the Lawman is the U.S. like the 3-part race
Well,
challenge. The,
well,
the Gold Cup is the international one.
you know that our tournament here has some prize money. So I'm hoping
Yeah, so
that
I'm all about racing for money.
I mean that's all I
To
want to
keep my
hear.
dreams alive. Otherwise, I might be not make it to the finish line.
Kara, I'm going to tell you right now, we are going to do everything
More
that
treats for Luna, my dog.
we can. We are going to do everything that we can here at Rower's Choice to get more of these tournaments going, get more funding for the Olympic athletes. And listen, I wish you all the best for our tournament here.
Thank
We're
you.
going to cheer you on. I know we're going to do more interviews as the series goes on to see how you're doing in the tournament. So, Kara, thank you for being part of another Athlete's Profile.
Yeah, thank you for creating this to give us some competition.